Oh my gosh, Shiz.
There she goes again. Oh man, shoot the messenger if you need. Justify the criminal's greed. Blame the documents if you want. Throw out a misogynistic taunt, but there she goes again, pissing off them men. There she goes once more. Facts will settle the score. If the truth is painful, maybe be less pitiful. Don't commit crimes and lie online. There she goes again. Documents in hand, breaking their delusion. Sorry for the confusion, but shit happens. Shit happens. Shit happens.
Discord drama whore. You're nice. Mikey Mikey, haven't you heard? Mikey Mikey, you're a shitbird. Mikey Mikey takes several seats. Mikey Mikey, embrace defeat. Well, isn't that unfortunate that you're a fucking half-wit? That you're a habitual felon? That you have no brain in that fucking melon? In that fucking melon. Did you know you have a hearing? Is that what you were fearing? Make sure to bring your trout shoulders. Bad guys getting bolder and bolder. Mikey Mikey, haven't you heard? Mikey Mikey, you're a shitbird. Mikey Mikey takes several seats. Mikey Mikey, embrace defeat. Felon Wrangler robbing little old ladies, lying and pretending he had a baby, acting like he isn't a complete waste of space, making his family name a disgrace. There once was a man named Donnie who had the misfortune of meeting this donkey. According to the state, Mikey killed him, but now Wrangler plays the victim. What the fuck? Mikey Mikey, embrace defeat. Fuck you, Wrangler. Fuck you, Wrangler. But Mikey Mikey, embrace defeat.
It's a bop. It had to be resurrected. They did get the music video taken down, but I changed it slightly, and now it does not violate anything. It didn't to begin with. You all are very sensitive. But hello, thank you, Scotto, for joining me. I'm going to have some more people joining me in a little bit, but I thought since we're coming up to Mr. Kiser's sentencing, it would be worth going over start to finish how this situation unfolded. We're going to go over Mr. Kiser's history, criminal history in chronological order. The veterans are going to come up and talk about the stolen valor. You look so sexy tonight, Scotto. What the fuck? You're distracting me. Hair's
fried
on
chicken
point.
and fried chicken tonight, so hey.
So I became involved in this situation when Mr. Kiser joined my Discord. I believe I might have encountered him on a panel before that. He was always very complimentary to me. But he was quite a nuisance in my Discord. He constantly talked about his numbers and his view count. He at one point interrupted a very emotional conversation that a number of us were having about losing people to suicide. And he entered the room as people were crying and said, "Do you see I have almost 500 views on my last video?" And That was annoying. So, I'm so happy I haven't had to deal with that in a long time. But I came into this situation because Mr. Kiser sought out to have social interactions with me when an exposed fraudster that went by Welsh News Network covered Mr. Kiser. He did a brief overview of the charges against Mr. Kiser, but none of the circumstances, none of the narrative reports, didn't interview anyone. So when that came out, I approached Mr. Kiser. I said, "What is this charge for? What do you know me?" He responded by lying. Obviously, I re-aired our DMs not long ago, so you all could see how that unfolded. But here we are. So I think we're going to start off with Mr. Kiser's first incident, which would be Afghanistan on April 13th, 2009.
Let me get there.
See, he was so busy being pretty, he forgot to pull shit up. It's fine. It was worth it, I promise you.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, a little close. I guess we'll go up. How about that? A little bigger. One more. There we go. Okay.
Loading forever for me. So this is from the Gadsden Police Department. Again, this is April 13th, 2009. Could you just scroll down to the narrative part?
Yes, please. Okay.
The victim, Michael Kiser, stated that between 16:15 and 16:20 hours on April 13th, 2009, an unknown black male forced his way into the victim's home, located at and the address. The suspect was armed with an unknown type handgun and was pointing the weapon at the victim. The suspect asked the victim, "Where's the package?" Oh my God, you're so noisy, Scotto. Asked the victim, "Where's the package?" And the victim said, "I don't know what package you are talking about." The victim deflected the suspect's weapon to the side, at which time the suspect fired one round into the victim's front upper portion of the arm. The suspect then fled the victim's home. The victim said that he receives medication each month from the VA medical distribution point located in Charleston, North Carolina. He said that his medication must be signed for by him alone, and he feels that the house has been under observation by the suspect. So I will note from talking to people connected to this situation, Mr. Kiser's wife was in the process of leaving him. He was also a person of interest in medication thefts from people's mailboxes in the area. And then this happened. Within 4 days of this incident, given the plethora of evidence, Mr. Kiser had apparently worn earplugs, which he threw in the toilet and was dumb enough to think that they would flush. And the shell casing located in the back of the closet, Mr. Kiser gave a confession to lying to police and shooting himself and blaming a black man on April 17th, 2009. Do you want to show that one? Boom. Statement of Michael Kiser. On Monday of this week, I was repairing an antique weapon. That always messes me up because it should be an. On Monday of this week, I was replacing an antique weapon that required me to chamber around. That weapon included a decocker safety. As I flipped the safety on, the hammer fell, causing an accidental discharge. The included weapon was an IMI Baby Eagle caliber 9mm. Wally's here. Wally, can I ask you really quickly to explain why none of this makes sense? I don't know that much about guns.
Okay, there is no process where you keep a loaded round in a gun while doing any type of repairs, modifications, cleaning. Period.
And was the
and you flip the safety
Baby
on.
Eagle antique?
Okay, so no, it's not. I mean, it can be. The originals could be, but here's the other thing. So I could actually show you if you want, but I don't think you want me to. But when you have a decocking switch on a,
Doug, you just look for reasons to pull a gun out on my stream. It's really weird.
But
look,
continue. It's part of me. Okay. But okay, so you have a little button on the side, safety, right? Safer fire on most pistols that have a hammer, which is, a revolver would have a hammer. Baby Eagle would have a hammer. Berettas have a hammer. When you press that switch down further, it makes the hammer drop. Just like if you pull the trigger, but instead there's a little plate that comes up and covers the firing pin from the hammer, so it won't engage the firing pin to then engage the round to then set the round off. So him saying that is completely, that's not how those type of firearms even work.
And if I remember correctly, that's not the caliber of bullet that shot him, is it?
They do make them in 9mm, but most IWI Desert Eagles, Baby Eagles are 50 caliber, 50 AE, which is a pistol caliber 50.
I'm pretty sure that it was 38. Is that a
no?
caliber?
It wouldn't. It is a caliber, but IWI doesn't make a.
No, that wasn't the weapon. It was one of the ones he had stolen from his father-in-law. Is the one he shot him with, which we'll go over documents on that later.
It was a 38 special, I think.
Yes. A Rossi? No.
Yep.
But okay, thank you, Wally. Back to the dungeon with ye. Okay. So I'm saying Kiser's a liar. I know you guys are very surprised. Right, Wally dropping knowledge at all times. And then I believe the next docket we're going to look at is Calhoun County. Or no, the murder's next. Yep. So this was April 2009. The murder occurred December 2009. So the murder ones are going to be the next.
Okay.
Sorry, guys. I'm really good at this.
Yeah, I'm looking for a document that matches that description, and I'm not finding it in the court docs.
So it's the ones frog watermarked. So it's going to be called, the first one's going to be watermark firearm disposal. Can you pull that one up?
Okay. I do not see it in the court docs.
I emailed you earlier, all of them.
Ah, that would be why.
I'll
check my personal email.
We can't even get it together. It's fine. This is on brand.
Oh my God. Okay, so the last time I opened my email was on April 17th. So give me a minute. It's coming.
Oh, April 17th, just like his confession.
Oh.
Whoa. Creepy.
Wow. It is creepy. And this was today you sent them?
Yeah, earlier today.
Got it.
Okay.
I found it. Okay,
Skeptic, stop fucking texting me and telling me how unprofessional I am. We can't all be as cool as you.
Okay, I see the Etowah docs one. Where's the other one? Okay.
Firearm disposal.
Got it.
Perfecto. I tried to keep them in order where I could. The last one we're going to show is the second email I sent you, is the most recent documents. When we get to the current stuff, I'll be showing the habitual offender filing that they put in for Mr. Kiser.
This one, I believe.
Zoom me harder, Daddy.
There you go.
Thank you so much. Can you just show the date? I know it's 2013.
This one's a 2014, but that's the filing date.
The docket starts in 2013, so I'm going to guess that I believe that's when the murder indictment was handed down. This docket started.
Which is probably where this case number came from.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is notice to defendant. Comes now the state of Alabama by and through its counsel, Attorney General Luther Strange, and to the undersigned Attorney General Andrew D. Arrington, pursuant to Alabama Rules of Evidence, Rule 404B, and do hereby give notice of the state's intention to introduce evidence of the defendant's other crimes, wrongs, or acts. The state, in presenting evidence to the charge of capital murder as indicted in this matter, or on cross-examination of the defendant, may show that the defendant stole and disposed of the following weapons. An M1A1 folding carbine, property of the Civilian Marksmanship Program. Mr. Kiser worked for that program for a short period of time and stole from them. The means of disposal that they are referencing in this document is pawning them. He's pawning the weapons. A Colt AR-15 assault rifle, the property of Larry Ford, his godfather. A Glock 19 9mm, property of James Worthington, that was a family friend. A Rossi 38 caliber pistol, the property of Danny Fred Elliott, that was his father-in-law. I believe that is the firearm he shot himself with. A Taurus model 431 44 caliber pistol, property of Danny Fred Elliott. A Norenko model 54.1, other numbers, rifle, the property of Danny Fred Elliott.
It looks like a bunch of math. Yeah.
Are they doing construction outside your house again? What is all that noise? Are you at a rave? The state will show that the defendant stole and disposed of a firearm of the deceased in this manner, in the same manner as the above listed victims, but not limited to other purposes such as proof of motive, opportunity, intent, preparation, plan, knowledge, identity, or absence of mistake or accident. And then they just outline the rules of evidence that allow them to introduce this.
Mm-hmm. Right here, probably. Is it still there? Oh, that's still the rules.
They're still just citing laws, yeah. Most documents are a lot of law citing.
La 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 la.
They're basically saying his modus operandi here is to steal firearms and pawn them, including the firearms of the deceased. I think that really is the end of that one. It just cites laws the rest of the time.
Right here, I imagine.
Wherefore, premises considered, the state of Alabama hereby provides notice to this honorable court and to the defendant and his counsel that the state intends to use evidence of similar instances where the defendant stole and disposed of firearms of friends, family, and acquaintances. The state requests that the honorable court admit this collateral crime evidence against the defendant in accordance with the legal principles discussed here and above.
Is there a game going on over there?
Yes, there is. He only has 5 more minutes. So that's the murder one. Do you want to go into the Calhoun docket?
Let's see. That is going to be this one, I believe.
Yes. You can scroll down like, oh, guys, look, I illegally obtained records by requesting them via FOIA.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy talk.
Down here. Okay.
So while investigating the murder, when they started questioning people connected to Mr. Kiser, from what I heard, people started realizing their firearms were missing. So when Mr. Kiser said he had no criminal record until the murder, he was accurate. He was never charged with the false crime he reported on April 13th, 2009 in Gadsden, Alabama when he shot himself. Mm-hmm. So he was charged with theft of property, second-degree firearms, July 26, 2010. This is relating to the guns we were just reading about.
Mm-hmm.
Theft of property, second-degree firearm, a bond revocation on the charge on September 22nd, 2010. So see, he knew bond revocation procedure. He's been through it before, more than once.
Mm-hmm. And I think there's another one here. Oh, yeah.
So this is a capital murder. He was charged via warrant on, he was charged via warrant on May 17th, 2013 with capital murder. I don't like laughing when talking about capital murder, but that was the loudest fire truck I've ever heard.
Yeah, I didn't know until you told me.
You are the perfect person to live in a noisy area because you don't hear shit.
Agreed.
This is an alias warrant on capital murder. I believe that May 15th, 15. I believe that might have been when he violated the terms of his, GPS monitor active. I believe he violated the terms of his GPS, mm-hmm. and they put out a warrant. I believe he served 42 days for that.
Okay, nice way to spell it, but it's probation.
Probation violation on August 12th, 2015. So Mr. Kiser was well aware of what he was doing in his current case.
Mm-hmm.
Motion to revoke bond for capital murder.
And then another probation.
Another probation violation. Sober.
No,
It's
that's-
weird that he blames it on drug use, but the condition is listed as sober on all of these. Burglary 3rd degree was the date on this one.
Oddly, this one doesn't have a date issued on it. This page.
9/10, right there, date of arrest, 9/10/2019.
Okay.
The warrant number would tell me it was an incident from 2015, though, and that's just when they apprehended him.
Mm-hmm. That's it for that one.
Okay, what's the next one? We're buzzing through.
I believe it's Etowah.
Likely, yes. That's the current case. So these
Is
are
this some part of the? Is this some part of the fake news that turned out to be true? Could it be?
This is fake news that turned out to be true. I'm sorry. Hi, my name is Shannon. If your cope when you can't accept the truth is to say that it was fake news that ended up being true, there's some sort of PEMDAS that allows you to drop all that bullshit and just say it was the truth. You guys all went at me saying I was lying, and I wasn't. That's crazy. Thank you.
Oh, I like those words there. That phrase. Oh.
Like, I'm sorry. Like, if you have a crime channel and someone puts out documents and you're like, fake news, and then it gets proven true, and you're like, it's fake news that ended up being true.
So you just open up every show that way. I mean, why not?
Welcome to the fake news that ends up being true. Oh, all right. I gotta read more. I gotta read a lot today.
Reading is fundamental, ma'am.
I've read this so many times, too. Okay. The grand jury of Etowah County charges that before the finding of this indictment... Oh, man, I have a frog in my throat. Hold on, I need a sip of something. I gotta get a drink. Talk amongst yourselves. You can read some of it if you want. Wally, you want to read some of it? Here. Wally's going to be my reader.
Putting you on the spot.
Where are we at? Count 1, 2, or 3?
We just started at 1.
Okay. The grand jury of Etowah County charges that before the finding of this indictment, Michael William Kiser, whose name unknown to the grand jury other than stated, knowingly entered or remained unlawfully in an unoccupied building with intent to commit a crime therein, to wit, theft of property in violation of 13A-7-7A3, Code of Alabama, 1975, contrary to law and against the peace and dignity of the state of Alabama. Count 2. Grand jury of Etowah County charges that before the finding of this indictment...
You're doing so great. I'm so proud of you. Keep going.
I can't read. I did go to school. Michael William Kiser, whose name is unknown to the grand jury other than as stated, did commit theft of credit card or debit card, regardless of value, to wit, MasterCard credit, last 45585, the property of David Lamar Chadwick in violation of provisions of 13A-8-4.
Bragging about how, I can read.
Ooh, it's a little fuzzy on my screen. Code of Alabama, 1975, contrary to law and against the peace and dignity of the state of Alabama. We have count 3. Grand jury of Etowah County charges that before the finding of this indictment, Michael William Kiser, whose name is unknown to the grand jury other than as stated, used, attempted to use, or allowed to be used a credit card or debit card, to wit, MasterCard, last 45585, for the purpose of obtaining property, services, or anything of value, with the knowledge that such card was stolen or had been revoked or canceled, or for any other reason to use the card was unauthorized by either the user of the person to whom such credit card or debit card was issued, to wit, David Lamar Chadwick, in violation of the provisions of 13A-9-14B, Code of Alabama, 1975, contrary to law and against the peace and dignity of the state of Alabama. Then we have count 4 and 5. Okay, count 4. The grand jury of Etowah County charges that before the finding of this indictment, Michael William Kiser, whose name is unknown to the grand jury, other than as stated, knowingly entered or remained unlawfully in an unoccupied building with intent to commit a crime therein, to wit, theft of property in violation of 13A-7-7A3, Code of Alabama 1975, contrary to law and against the peace and dignity of the state of Alabama. Count 5, the same pretense, but then we have did commit the crime of theft of property in the third degree by knowingly obtaining or exerting unauthorized control over the property of other, to wit, David Lamar Chadwick, 1 century floor safe with combination entry and 1 century floor safe with keypad entry, with intent to deprive the owner of his or her property in violation of the provisions of 13A-8.4.1 Code of Alabama 1975, contrary to law and against the peace and dignity of the state of Alabama.
I just did that for the ladies. I was like, I'll just let him keep going because Summer was enjoying it.
Damn.
So that is the case that Mr. Kiser is currently being held on. So the next one, they're probably kind of confusing because when they're one page, they just send in the email. So we're looking for the show cause hearing document.
Goody. I think I can get that also out of.
Okay, back to the dungeon with E.
You're so brutal.
Wally's been dealing with my shit for so long.
Or anybody does, for that matter.
Yeah, I don't get why you guys are all here. It's fine. Because they don't usually disclose names at the grand jury. It's kind of like, do you think a crime was committed here? Damn it, Lupe's in my head.
Exactly. Let's see.
Do I have any short Michael clips?
Oh! Remember the
I'll do that
Memorial.
at the end. I want to get through.
Okay.
I want to get through the.
Trying to play.
Okay, so this portion is brought to you by.
She's not gonna have a video about cats. She's not gonna post up a video with happy cats or a cat swapping another cat. She's gonna come online and make videos about other people because that's what she does.
That is what I do.
What else is there?
Lupe is rent free in all of our heads. Dun, 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 dun. She's so funny. Effortless comedy.
It is.
Oh no, Wally, I forgot. Now everyone in the chat is pregnant. You'll notice in the description I have shamelessly grifted. I do need to make an impromptu trip to Alabama. If anyone would like to contribute, feel free to do so. Super chats or whatever links I threw in there. I don't even know which ones I put in there.
I think. Let me go here. Because what you sent me were images.
Yeah, because when it's only one page, it won't send the PDF way.
Yeah.
Brick to the ground, fucking ground. Yes. Lupe has the best sound clips on the internet. Fight me. Oh, God. Wally, can you believe Scotto hasn't brought this document up yet?
I mean,
wait till I'm high.
Hey.
Which is this, but I don't think. Yeah, see, it's like an image, but so it doesn't let me zoom in.
Oh no, that's the order of appearance for the failure to appear.
Okay.
That was after the warrant was issued. So you should have the show cause one, and then you have copies of the warrant and that order.
Shiz, you want to send it over and I can try to pull it up on mine?
Yeah.
He has them. They're just confusing. It should just say show cause across the motion to show cause. It's just one page. It's not watermarked. That should help. Shout out Mervin them. I'm not doing the guck thing that Lupe does, but thank you.
Go. I'll do it out there. That was me. That was me, people. That was me, Clippers. That was me.
We're gonna get blamed
Okay, I
so
finally
hard
got
for
it.
that.
Oh my god. This is crazy.
There's so many documents. It's wild.
I agree.
Yeah.
That should be the watermark should be framed.
I never watermarked shit either. It's when me and Frog had to throw down so much money on the documents. He was like, "We're watermarking them. We just spent a bunch of money on them." And Merv got so butthurt that now anytime I pay for a document, I watermark it. Except this one because I was excited to show Chris Ryder's an idiot.
Smart. It's smart.
It's true. There we go. Show cause.
Okay. Comes now the state of Alabama by and through the district attorney of the 16th. Is there a way to zoom? How do I make you big? No? It stayed the same size. God damn it.
Yeah.
That's annoying.
Thank you, StreamYard.
Right? Comes now the state of Alabama by and through the district attorney for the 16th Judicial Court and moves this honorable court for an order setting this matter for hearing in the above styled cause, and as grounds therefore would submit the following. 1, the defendant is charged with the above cases with 2 counts of burglary in the third, 2 counts of theft of property, and fraudulent use of a credit card. He was released from custody of Etowah County Detention Center on or around March 15th, 2022. Pursuant to Rule, is that an 8 or a 3? Pursuant to Rule...
Summed out 3A, yeah.
Okay. Pursuant to Rule 7.3a, Alabama Rules of Criminal Procedure, mandatory conditions of each defendant's bond require the defendant not depart from the state without leave of court and promptly notify the court of any change of address. 3, the state has probable cause to believe the defendant has violated the terms and conditions of his bond by leaving the state of Alabama and making his residence in the state of Texas without leave of court. The defendant has failed to update his residence with the court. And I know what you mush brains are going to say. I'm the mush brain whisperer. Hey guys, come here. They put Texas because that's what he was saying in all the streams he deleted, was that he lived in Texas. That's the reason it says Texas on there. They knew that he was in Oklahoma. That's how he was arrested. Thank you. I know what the cope on that's going to be. You know what I mean? Sorry, Wally Dungeon. I hear you shuffling shit on your desk. Don't fucking act outraged back there. So hard to keep him in line sometimes. The state has... I already read that one. Upon information and belief, the defendant has an online presence with international reach, wherein the defendant has made admissions that he lives in Texas and North Carolina. The defendant's online presence alludes to the belief that he in fact has lived outside the state of Alabama for some length of time. Wherefore, premises considered, the state of Alabama respectfully requests that due to the defendant's failure to comply with bond conditions, that a show cause hearing be set to determine why the defendant's bond should not be revoked. This, the 9th day of October, 2024, signed Stephen M. McGlarthy.
Nice.
Now that he got a warrant, or the writ, I have the writ too, that the judge wrote. It's really muffled. I'm sorry. I'm on my headphones on a little tablet because my laptop finally stopped working.
Did you send me the writ one?
I did. That should be a singular image too, I believe. It's short.
I see another shift. I see the other things that go around with this, but I don't see one that actually says a writ.
Or you can just pull up the warrant, I guess, similar. Or you can just, you know what, pull up the thing you just had up from Judge Day right before this, the long one. That was his appearance in court.
Was it this? Notice of appearance after execution of writ. Yeah, okay, this is it, right? But we can't see it. Hang on. Let's see. This is 09.
Yes, this document, he did not show up to a show cause hearing. A warrant was issued for his apprehension. He was apprehended, transported back to Alabama. This is the Honorable Judge Day expressing what happened at the hearing when he returned and tried to get bond again or whatever.
And here we go. This one looks better.
Oh, see, Skeptic knows how blackmail works. Thank you, sir. Order of appearance after execution of writ of arrest for failure to appear. Defendant failed to appear for a show cause hearing February 5th, 2025, whereupon the court ordered issuance of a writ for the defendant's arrest and failure to appear. The writ was executed on February, that's supposed to be, I think, 6th.
Let me do that. There you go.
Why did they put that February 16th, 2019? Someone was having a tough day.
Yeah.
Or maybe that's the day they got him back. No, that's still too far. Upon the defendant's extradition from the state of Oklahoma. The defendant appeared before the court on February 18th, 2025 at 1:30 p.m. Together with his attorney, William Broom, Jr., where upon it was found and ordered as follows. The court confirmed the defendant's true name and address. The defendant's true name, Michael William Kiser. The defendant stated his current address is Bethany, Oklahoma. He was advised to notify the court promptly of any address change prior to disposition of the above-styled case. The court informed the defendant that he had the right to be represented by counsel, that he would be afforded time and opportunity to retain counsel, and that if he was indigent and unable to obtain counsel, counsel would be appointed to represent him. As noted, William Broom, retained counsel, was present with the defendant at court, present on behalf of the state of Alabama with Stephen McGlarthy, Deputy District Attorney. The court noted that the charges pending against the defendant in this case were 2 counts of burglary in the 3rd degree, 2 counts of theft in the 3rd degree, and fraudulent use of credit debit cards. The defendant has been released on aggregate bond of $9,500 surety prior to his leaving the state of Alabama and traveling to the state of Oklahoma. The court finds the defendant is a proven flight risk, having left the state of Alabama while on bond and having returned to Alabama only as a result of extradition. Accordingly, the court declines to release the defendant on bail, and as much as it finds pursuant to Rule 7.2a that bail will not reasonably assure defendant's appearance. 5, the clerk of the court is ordered to cause this case to appear on the court's next plea docket and the court's next criminal jury trial docket. And again, no trial ended up happening. Mr. Kiser entered a blind guilty plea. Just before that second email has these ones. Just before he entered a blind guilty plea, the state moved to charge him as a habitual offender and argue circumstances to extend his sentencing. I haven't shown these ones yet. These are the new ones. Ooh.
Let's see. I have the one about aggravating circumstances. Is that the one that's next?
I believe so.
Okay.
Sorry, Wally and Skeptic in the dungeon. This is the last one.
There we go.
Oh, this is actually the second one I wanted to go over, but that's okay.
Want me to get the other one? Or that was the third one in that email?
If you can quickly, that'd be great. I don't want to do we make fun of dead air. I don't want to do a lot of dead air, but I'm on my old work tablet. And
dead air, dead air.
I just need to replace my laptop's battery. I'm too scared to do it myself.
I've been curious if you're ever going to do that.
Warren Munkendall, thank you so much for bringing this up. Has Kiser been sentenced for his new charges yet? He is being sentenced at the end of May. You will notice the Shameless Grift links in the description of this video if you would like to contribute to my travels down there to watch his sentencing in person. Fuck. All right, hold on a second. While Scotto's finding that, Skeptic, can you read this like Michael Kiser real quick? Thank you.
Oh, damn. Thought we were in the back waiting. Yeah, I'm not just a habitual offender. I'm a habitual snitch. I even created a YouTube channel to habitually snitch on myself. Michael Kiser, also known as Fraudit Wrangler. Inmate number.
All right, you're going to be right back.
Oh,
you have those,
2069.
Did you find that, Scotto? It should be in the same email as that one.
Well, I don't have my headset on. I was trying to free ball this.
You did excellent, I promise you.
Go right ahead. I'm ready to accept my compliments now.
You are the best. You are the top person in the dungeon. Just kidding, Wally.
Damn.
Wally's on top, and now you're pregnant. So, all right.
It's this one, right?
Yes.
Thank
Notice of intent to
God.
proceed under Habitual Offender Act, pursuant to Rule 26.6 of the Alabama Rules of Conduct of Criminal Procedure. You are hereby notified that the state of Alabama, by and through the Office of the District Attorney for the 16th Judicial Circuit, intends to invoke provisions of the Habitual Felony Offender Act at sentencing in the above styled action. Accordingly, the state intends to introduce evidence of the following convictions at sentencing in this cause.
Boy, oh boy. I haven't even looked yet, but I bet this is good. Well, okay.
Oh, thank you, R.A. I appreciate your contribution to the Bama Fund. I like seeing his sentencing is going to be cool. I want to meet all the people that I've talked to down there. I can't wait to hug Donald's family. Like, oh my God, are you kidding?
You're not even a hugger.
I'm not a hugger at all, but I'm so excited for these hugs. So it lists off a couple of crimes: theft of property, second degree, theft of property, second degree. Those were 2 different counties. Receiving stolen property, and burglary in the 3rd. Okay, now we're going to have Walberto, and we're going to bow out. We are not veterans, and I think a big part of this story is Michael Kiser's stolen valor. So here is Team Skeptic. If you're not subscribed to him, you've been living under a rock. And Wally, 2 veterans of the United States military that are going to go over his stolen valor.
Yeah, awesome. Hey, Skeptic, how's it going?
What up, man? Feeling pretty good?
Yeah, me too. Hey, before we kind of go into it, supposed to remind you to talk about Kiser's gun story.
Oh, yeah. So it was just a minor detail to that story that I'd like to add.
Hold on one second. Thank you, Salacious, for a plate of good Southern food. I try to be nice. I'm not. People pay money, and I'm not gonna make. I don't know. Thank you, Salacious. I'm sorry, Skeptic's so fucking rude. All right, continue.
She's lying when she says she's sorry. She's never sorry about anything. But back to this
Love
story.
means never having to say you're sorry.
Back to my story. No, it's really insignificant to the thing, but it is something that was funny. And we're going to talk about this here in a bit when we talk about what he said to me privately on a phone call. But one of the things he said was, geez, man, she made me forget. What are we? That the guns, right? So he was telling me, when he was like, yeah, I'd never snitch. I don't do this. I will never tell anybody. He's like, that gun charge where I went to prison for all those stolen guns, that was really my girlfriend at the time. Or girlfriend or wife, whoever the daughter of the man that who filed one of the complaints, he said that she did it and he went to prison for her, that he didn't have nothing to do with that. That was like one of the many lies that he told me in that private conversation. But I was like, oh, yeah, I remember. I was like, because I was trying to get kind of close to him and I was playing the buddy troll a little bit. It is what it is. But I also was, I was trying to get the information out of him because I knew he was being like he was being real deceptive about what he was putting out. And so I knew I had to break through that deceptiveness and try to, talk to him and be friendly on him on different levels. And that was in the conversation. He told me, he was like, yeah, I've even done time for something I've never done. And I was like, what do you mean by that? He was like, those guns that I did prison time for, the stolen guns. And I was like, yeah. He goes, well, those were not, I didn't actually steal those. My girlfriend stole them and I just did the time for her. And of course my bullshit meter started going off, but I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that's what an honorable man. What an honorable guy.
Of course. Of course.
I wonder who he's doing jail time for now. Oh, I know. Shiz.
Yeah, right. It's all Shiz's
God,
fault.
I love you so much, Skeptic.
I know. But yeah, so where do you want to start with this, Wally? Because
let's define stolen valor first, right? So, like, the definition of stolen valor is the act of fraudulently claiming military service or honors, especially with the intent to gain money, recognition, or other benefits. It includes wearing military uniforms, military medals that weren't earned, lying about rank, combat experience, fabricating entire military careers. That's the base federal definition.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's kind of the dictionary definition. I would say that veterans have a slightly different definition of it because there can be times when somebody is pulling stolen valor when they're getting nothing in return. Like just telling stories around the campfire and you're telling your buddy's story about, how shit went down in Kandahar. Motherfucker was, back home in America, the Fort Bragg the whole time,
right?
Like shit like that, where they're like, nah, you didn't do that. That's to us, that's stolen valor. But on a criminal level, that's not really stolen valor.
And I don't know if you've noticed, but maybe 2025 alone, a lot of these stories, like major people in the media, people with millions of viewers a day, are being accused of embellishing and taking other people's war stories and claiming them for their own. And that's coming out a lot. Major YouTubers, I don't want to call them out because I don't know for sure, but it is happening a lot.
I believe that to be true because, like you typically, everybody embellishes a bit, but there's a level of embellishment that is acceptable. And then there's things that are unacceptable, You can get out there and talk about how the bullets were flying by your head when, they really weren't. They were off in the distance a bit. They were still firing at you, but they were done a little bit off in the distance. They weren't really blowing by your head, but it's a nicer story to tell in that situation, which kind of brings us to what got Kiser in the situation that he was in.
Absolutely.
Trying to embellish stories, really steal stories because he never went there. But it was, excuse me, the extreme embellishment that raised red flags with everybody, like from doctors to combat certified veterans who actually, live through the stories that he's telling and realize, whoa, shit wouldn't happen like that. Like the Humvee story where he's like, oh yeah, we're flying down the sand at 70 miles an hour. And out of nowhere comes this RPG, hits us and stops us dead in our tracks, breaks my leg in half. But I still, I put my pack on and I was able to make it out all right.
Yeah, with broken tib fib.
Yeah, exactly.
And a horizontal and vertical fracture. It's no.
Yeah, fragging his back, guys, too.
Fragging his back. Yeah.
Yeah. So
getting shot by a kid, that's that happens.
Guys, wait, people are confused, so I'm going to give a little bit of context. Warren asked, was Kiser in the military at all? As far as the records have shown, Mr. Kiser did not pass basic training. He was medicaled out the first time, from what I heard, due to being stung by a bee and showing a bee allergy. And the second time was due to shin splints from a source close to the family. But, okay, I just wanted, people were confused, like, what did he lie about? Like, not the stories, but the fact that he didn't make it past boot camp. So when you're hearing Skeptic and Wally talk about these outlandish war stories he's told, like, keep in mind he couldn't defeat a bee. Thank you.
Yeah, the B
Yeah.
phase, the B phase of basic training is one of the most intense and hard to pass phases.
Right.
Many toothless Alabamians have struggled to get past the B phase.
Very true. Very true. And with that, before I forget, like the shin splints story, like, you know, Kaiser was using his VA disability, which 40% is his rate, which now should be 10% and then diminished some because he's been incarcerated for X amount of time. I haven't followed through to see if that actually happened, but his shin splint, quote unquote, injury weren't bad. Everybody who's been in the military had shin splints, right? If you're marching, especially like the Marine Corps and the Army, right? Where you're marching, especially at boot camp, you're marching to your meals, you're marching with weight, and all day, right? Without significant breaks, dehydrated. But his apparently weren't very bad at all. But his dad, running some type of veteran services organization, like essentially forced him to get a surgery on that to then use that to get VA benefits. And,
Allegedly.
you know, that's allegedly, and that is also stolen valor, like in its own weird way. That's like, you know, he only wanted him to go and his dad made connections with people with the Alabama National Guard to get him back in after the bee sting, which disqualified him from military service. You know, hypothetically. And yeah. And it seems like the only reason for going again was to get hurt, to get those benefits, hypothetically. So,
yeah.
Thank you.
No problem. You know, but it's like, okay, everybody wants to belong. People who are like in the military, whether you're like special operations or you're a helicopter refueling technician or intelligence or admin, it's honorable to serve. Even if you didn't leave the fob, you're still in some harm's way from rockets, mortars, celebratory fire, suicide bombers at the gate, right? At least, like, let's say the Iraq experience versus Afghanistan, they're a little different in the way that the enemy fights. But at least in my experience with the Marine Corps, first off, every Marine's a rifleman. So you can, in theory and in practice, right, you can be an admin Marine, and then a lot of people, you have a lot of casualties with your unit. And next thing you know, you're in a gun truck and you're providing cover and things like that. You might not necessarily be kicking in doors. That's more of the role of the infantry and weapons companies and things like that. But everybody wants to have that cool story. And it just, I think it also depends on how you use it. If it's like, yeah, I was in Iraq, it sucked. I did a lot of admin work, but then I also had to go out on patrol and do gate guard. There's nothing wrong with that. But a story like that for somebody like Kiser doesn't help gain people's trust. It doesn't help earn respect or the appearance of respect. And it doesn't benefit him fiscally, right? It didn't benefit him to be like, hey, listen, I tried to join the military. I got hurt at boot camp twice, but I love my country and I'm a patriot, right?
Yeah, no, that's as respectable as anything else. If he would have just said that he'd have been there would have been people that would have still said, hey, thanks for your service. But for him, it doesn't make him a talking point to just say, I tried and failed. And, you know, I have the utmost respect for all the people that made it through what I couldn't and went on to serve this country. He could have said that.
And think about if he did, people wouldn't have looked into his background at all. Like this might not have gone back into the court rotation as quickly as it has, or actually as long as it has, or however you want to look at how the timeliness of that, the charge is actually going to court. You know, a lot of things for him would have been a lot different if he was honest in the first place.
Yeah.
One thing that's some interesting developments in the stolen valor space on the federal level, HR 327, it's called the Valor Earned Not Stolen, is in the works now. So the original 2007 federal laws for there's always been some type of stolen valor act on some level, even whether it was called that or not. It's been around since I believe the late 60s, but the original one was 2013. That's the modern version of what we know. The new one, 327, is in the works. It's trying to expand. It's trying to expand basically the what's the word for it? The threshold for stolen valor at a federal level, like the financial, like if you use stolen valor to make X amount of money, that is a federal crime, etc. So
It should be any money, in my opinion. Any money, any benefit, you should be held accountable for that.
And like the problem is, well, I think one of the problems with the reason it's so prevalent right now, there's not a lot of people like let's say Master Sergeant retired, myself, Stone Vet, who want to take the time to put it together a FOIA request, send that to NPRC, and then wait. Right? If there was some type of centralized system where you don't even need all the details, like a red light, green light would be great. Make it grunt proof. Here's personal information. Pretty simple, right? Is this person a veteran or not? And then people could search very easily. Like, you have not people who never served their country at all running VFWs, and being in charge of budgets and things like that.
Yeah, that's crazy. And yeah, I agree. It should be at minimum just to verify that they're a veteran. That should be simple.
That should be
an
simple.
end date and an out date. It's simple. Don't even have to go into where they were stationed at, what boot camp, what location for boot camp, because I don't know if there was 2 in the Army when I was in, but there was 2 in the Navy just prior to me getting in. When I got in, it was just had downsized to Great Lakes only.
There was 3 people with my exact name in the Marine Corps at the same time. Me as a corporal, a captain, and a warrant officer 4. And the captain, I would get his emails because CPT or CPL, right? Like I would get angry emails, and then it'd be like, "Hey, Master Sergeant, sorry, this is Corporal Prather, not Captain Prather. I apologize. Just want to let you know." They'd be like, "Oh, hey, Devil Dog." I'd get the whole phone call and all that bullshit. It's like, and we all had July birthdays, which made everything even worse. But no, there is that factor, right? That's, oh shit.
Let's get back to the subject matter. Kaiser Foyer.
You got it.
Sorry, you guys can shoot the shit after backstage or in my Discord or whatever. Okay, bye.
Oh, sure. But as well, I got involved because of Stone Vet. He was like, "Hey man, watch this." We were in my garage here at the house. It just nothing. His stories make sense. And when he says stuff like, when a first sergeant tells you, "Come here," you say, you just do it, right? It's like, I don't know. What was your perception at first when you first heard him talking his war stories?
So I first heard him. Of course, I was out like obscurely aware of what was going on, but I don't get myself involved in YouTube drama. I just never do. So I was walking around in Bucharest in Romania, and I was listening to Kfar and Kiser speak on Kiser's channel. And it's like, I guess this was right when it all started really picking up steam. And they were like, "Well, why don't you present your DD-214? And his response was like, "I can't because it's in storage in my grandmother's house in another state, and I just can't." And then it's like things like that is when I started going, like, just tell your grandmother to mail it to you. I mean, if it's bothering you so bad that you're having to speak about it on every live stream, then just call your grandmother and say, "Hey, grandma, I have my DD-214. It's packed away in this box. Can you pull it out?" And this isn't a document. This would be like your birth certificate, your children's birth certificates. You wouldn't have to go like, "Oh, I think it's just thrown in one box somewhere." You have to go through a bunch of paper. It's going to be somewhere very specific if it exists and you're really a veteran and you really want it. So when he started not coming up with that, that's when I started kind of, I want to say, developing a bias, because I really wasn't against him at this time. I just kind of started listening to what Stone Vet had to say a little bit more. And not so much to say that I was believing what Stone Vet said, because I try not to believe anybody during a beef. I just sit back and enjoy watching the dumpster fire. And so that's what I was doing. I was enjoying watching it from both sides. But being that I was enjoying watching it from both sides, I would, naturally, I started to say, like, yeah, he does have a point. This is a really good point. And you've been complaining about it and bitching about it for so long now that you could have written the VA and requested another fucking DD 214 sent to your new address. And I mean, nothing. It was just excuses. I can't go get it. I'm not going to go get it. I'm going to go get it. Next week, I'll go get it. Never mind. I had to go to the hospital instead. Like, there's always an excuse. And when I start hearing excuses, I just like, this is something that if you told me that you questioned my military valor, I could easily go to my mom's house. I know exactly where my fucking DD 214 is right this moment. It's stored specifically in a place where my birth certificate's there as well. So, and that's why I use those two examples, because I know exactly where both of those documents are, and they're in a fire protected safe, because I appreciate those documents in my life. If I ever need it for any, like when I go to get my yearly hunting and fishing license that's free in Texas for veterans, I have to provide them with a document that says that I'm a veteran. I give them a copy of my DD 214. That's what I do. And I've got the original put away. I got copies of it too for people that don't need to have the original. But for like presenting it in a place, I don't take the original. I just take a copy up there with me. And so him just not being able to present that was where it really started for me, when my bullshit meter started going off. And I hadn't even heard the stories at this point, because I only started listening to Kiser once the drama was picking up. And people were like, why aren't you saying anything about Michael Kiser? And I'm like, why? What is going on? Shiz knows about him. Go watch Shiz's video. And I'm like, I go watch Shiz's video, and I'm like, all right, so Shiz don't like him, and she's calling him out for some shit. Good for her. If it's real, of course, everybody will know about it. And if it's not, then Shiz will just be wrong. And life will eventually move on for both of them. Unfortunately, Kaiser's life moved in a different direction than he thought it was going to be moving. But yeah, you're right. It was all the outrageous claims, the stolen valor claims that he made. And then, okay, so I guess we could lead into the phone call from there, because that's where I eventually reached out to him and was talking to him about it. And this is when I had decided that, you know what, I'm going to buddy troll him a bit. And kind of get behind the scenes with him and see what he has to say when he believes that he can trust me. Because he had already expressed, admiration towards me. Whether he wants to admit that or not now, he was, riding that ball sack of mine pretty fucking hard. So I figured I could probably get in and have a conversation with him and get him to, say, hey, yeah, I did this. Nobody knows, but I did this. So I had 2 calls with him that were of significance. The first one was not recorded. The first one, I thought I was recording it. Turns out I was only recording my voice and not his. So whatever. I don't care. I suck. It's okay. So anyway, in that call, we got to talking, and I was like, yeah, I'm sorry you're going through all this. I'd already talked to a few creators to let them know that I was about to get on the inside with him. So this wasn't new, but I talked a lot of shit about Shiz, about Josh, few other Fraudit troll, because Fraudit troll had called him out. So I was like, yeah, fuck those people. They keep asking me to fucking call you out, and I keep asking them to present evidence, and they just can't do it. So, I'm not going to, until someone can provide me with evidence of your wrongdoing, I'm just not going to believe anything. Oh, thanks, brother. Us veterans, we look out for each other and this and that. So I got into a phone call with him, and I talked to him about a few things, and that's when we talked about the gun charge, and he was like, I even did time for someone else. And I was like, oh yeah, what do you mean by that? And he's like, well, my girlfriend's wife, I don't remember the actual words he used. It's been 2 years or close to it. But he was like, my girlfriend wife, she stole a bunch of guns, and I just took the blame for her, ended up doing prison time. And I was like, come on, bro. Like, I was like, you're talking to a felon here. Like, you ain't got to fucking bullshit me, you know? So we eventually pushed that into the stolen valor. And I outright called him out. I said, hey, man, listen. I said, we all embellish stories. I believe that we embellish stories. I said, but since becoming aware of this situation, I've become aware of a few stories you've told online on your live streams. And this is one that's bothering me. The one about the Humvee. And I specifically called him out. I said, dude, listen to me. I was like, I was stationed in fucking China Lake. This is in the middle of the desert. I know how fast big vehicles like that can travel on basically paved roads out of sand. You know, they're not doing 70 miles an hour. I'm also know enough about science to know that, you know, homemade RPG is not going to fucking stop a fucking 4 or 5 ton vehicle flying down the road at 70 miles per hour. It's basic kinetic energy physics here. So, you know, you don't have your story just isn't making sense. And from a medical perspective, you didn't carry a 40-pound pack on you for several weeks after breaking your femur. So I know all these stories are untrue. And I said, so why don't you and then he fought with me for like 20 to 30 minutes. He was like, no, this is true, trying to give me proof, trying to tell me things. And I asked him about the Afghan translator, or not the Afghan interpreter. I asked him about that story. He said, yes, that story's true. I said, bro, listen. I was like, you could shut every single fucking person up if you just provided a DD-214 and or you provided this interpreter who you claim to have fucking saved his entire family in Afghanistan and got his entire family asylum in America to avoid being killed by the Taliban. You know, like this. And I want to, again, I'm remembering these stories from 2 years ago. So forgive me if I misspeak about a few things, but the general story is correct. Whether it was Afghanistan and getting an interpreter out, Iraq and getting an interpreter, Iran, you know, Somalia, Eritrea, wherever the fuck he thinks he claims to have been, that's where he said he got this interpreter back home. And I was like, man, can you not get him on the phone? Like, just to confirm your story with me. I was like, fuck the rest of the people, just with me. If I hear this guy talk, I'll go to bat for you and say, I know that's true. But of course.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, but of course.
And these guys, the Stolen Valor guys, also are the ones telling people like you and me, well, show me your DD-214.
Yeah.
They're all about it. They're all about it. They're all about trying to call others out. And they think for some reason it's like deflection. That's going to deflect the attention off of me and onto them.
See, when it comes to someone like me, had he said, yeah, I'll show my DD-214 when you show you know what? I'd have had mine there within hours of him saying that. I would have had it there and said, now show me yours. Because that's what a real veteran's about.
And
you know, we understand.
It's not just paper copy. A lot of people are under the impression that all this is on paper. It's digital. When you request it now from the VA, Department of Veterans Affairs, you go log in. It's there under your account.
I wanted to interrupt because that's exactly what Stoned Vet did to him. When Stoned Vet first approached him and was asking him about his service, Stoned Vet put out all his shit and was like, okay, I showed mine, now you show me yours. And that's when Kiser started spinning. But I just wanted to add that tidbit because veterans have gone to him and shown their shit and he's still unable to show his.
Yeah, he won't. He will never show it. It's not a matter of not wanting to, it's not one of these situations where someone goes, you're a murderer. And you're like, yeah, that's stupid. I never murdered anybody, so fuck off. It's not one of these where you just blow off. You're actively gaining financial benefit from your military service that you continue to talk about. You continue to talk about it. Like, that's the other thing, you know, a lot
Yeah.
of his persona online was built around this military story that he gave to everybody that was an outright lie.
Mhm.
Everything about it was a lie.
And
So,
I was really surprised on how many people, like, once it was like very established that he didn't serve, plain and simply, he is not a veteran uh, of any war, and he didn't even graduate boot camp. And like the follow-on stories, and how many people just were like totally okay with it. Yeah,
well,
just 100% okay with it.
that's a product of two things: an understanding of the parasocial relationship you have with your audience, like
Mhm.
a pretty deep understanding, and a manipulation tactic combined with that deep understanding to make them feel like they're part of you and your family, which is basically his roll call at the beginning of every show, which lasts for a fucking hour. That's making sure that every single person that's there tonight will be back there tomorrow night.
Mhm.
And even if you're lying about your military service, they're willing to look past it because
Mhm.
on the inside, you're a good dude. That's what that does. He manipulates them into feeling that way, and then it's hard to escape the cult. Uh, Especially when you get the benefit of having your name said at roll call the next day.
Mm. By the time once Stone Vet, I actually sat down and we actually watched the videos, right? I've heard every story that Kaiser came out with before. A
Yeah.
little bit different details, but because all these things happened at the beginning of the war, except for the Humvee thing, because that up armored Humvees, when he said he was in those countries, they were just getting fielded, right? It's doubtful that he was just driving around in a fully up armored Humvee.
Yeah.
They can't go 75, 70, whatever. I mean, on a downhill on a paved road, maybe, but then they're completely uncontrollable, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, it's just all the little things, the little things never made sense. Like, all those, A, where are the pictures of you in uniform, right? Like on Veterans Day, Memorial Day, what have you, where's his military picture that he changes, on his profile? Like,
Even if he just made it through boot camp, at the end of boot camp, they
mhm,
take a picture of
yep,
every person in your class, and that's the picture you're guaranteed to take home with you. And
mhm,
you'll remember that picture for the rest of your life if you're really in the military and you went through the fucking boot camp and you came. They brought you into that room and they played that music and you felt that pride. And then the next
mhm,
thing you know, you're preparing for graduation day. You've already invited your fucking parents down, and now you're going to take the picture that you're so proud that you worked for that moment to
mhm.
attain, and he doesn't even have that
Yep.
because
Here's
he
where
didn't
my career
graduate boot
started.
camp. He
Yeah.
didn't graduate boot camp.
Yeah, well, he has one from the first time. They did take a picture of him the first time. He's super young, slender, but he really didn't exploit that as much as, you know, I thought he probably could have.
Yeah.
Like, here's
Well,
me in uniform. It's however many years ago.
yeah. So I eventually I tell him, "Look, man, I'm not buying your bullshit. You're gonna have to come with a different story for me because at this point, I really feel like I need to go to my audience who I share with you, who I've told them, hey, go sub to Fraudit Wrangler. I really need to go to my audience and let them know that I think you're bullshitting. So if you're bullshitting, why don't you just stop and tell me the truth and tell me, why you had to lie?" And so he goes, "All right, skeptic, I'm gonna share something with you I've never shared with anybody else before." I mean, of course, the manipulation, right? He's trying to now bring me into his tribe and keep me from using my audience because, of course, he's a manipulator. So he thinks I'm going to go and manipulate my audience because that's what he thinks everybody. He thinks Shiz is manipulating me. You know what I'm saying? Like that's his belief system is that everybody's manipulating their audience
Everybody.
because he's manipulating his, so he thinks we all must be doing it. But that's not the case. So eventually he says, "Hey, let me I'm tell you something I've never told anybody else. I never went to Afghanistan or Iraq." And I was like, "Okay." And he said, "It was a third country." And I was like, "Okay, what country?" He said, "Well, I can't tell you that." And I said, hold on. That is when I knew, when he said, I can't tell you that. That's when I was like, yep, he's lied about everything. He's not even a real veteran, because we can go behind the scenes. Me and Wally can go behind the scenes and share some shit that we've been through, and I'm not even a combat fucking veteran. I'm just was out in the middle of the fucking desert in China Lake, California. I could tell you all about some crazy shit that happened out there. And I'm sure he has crazy shit that happened with him. And we could share those stories without having to go into too much detail that would violate any fucking security agreement that we made when we actually worked there. So the idea of him to tell me he couldn't tell me which country it was kind of a truth, because he knew he couldn't sit there and think about which countries we were in conflict with at the time. So he had to just kind of admit the truth and say, but give a version of the truth, not the truth as in there wasn't any other country. I never went to these foreign places. The truth that he says was, I just can't tell you where it was. So at that point, I said, come on, man, we're both veterans. We both have stories we can tell. You can tell me, you can tell me without violating anything what country you were in. Like that, I'm not asking what unit you were in, what operations did you run. I'm not asking any of that. I'm just saying, what country did you go to? And he could not tell me. He said, and I said, why can't you tell me this one country that you went to? Just tell me the country, bro. And he said, well, I can't tell you because it's protecting another veteran. Again, bullshit. How would me, a veteran YouTuber who's talking to you in a private call, knowing what country that you actually had combat in, that you claim that you got all these injuries from, you can't tell me to protect another veteran? Like, what kind of bullshit story is that? So again, total bullshit. And so again, I was running undercover at that point, full undercover by the middle of that conversation, because I knew exactly that he had every intention of lying about it to me, just as well as much as he had lied to his audience. Really, that's ultimately what we want to do, guys. I know there's a lot of Kiser fangirls out there, but what we want to do is get you out of that fucking cult. Okay? You display cult mentality. You display it. So at the end of that conversation, ultimately I told him, part of that conversation also was him admitting that he had run a veterans charity, and that the money that he got never went to a veterans organization, but it went to a veteran, Falcax. Now, Falcax, he was a veteran, yes, but he was not receiving the money like gratuitously. He had to perform to get that money. Right. That's called a working contract. In other words, you were not raising money for veterans charities. You were raising money to pay a veteran to be one of your employees. So that right there is fraud. That in the
basic sense of it.
In the basic sense, whether it's whether the money amount was great enough or not great enough, who knows? And good that he helped Falcax out. I'll say that, but Falcax worked for that money. He needed a job, and Kiser presented him with an opportunity to work, and that's about the only gratitude he should get, is to say he gave a job to a veteran. But he did that under false pretenses. He did that by committing fraud, by telling if he would have told his audience, hey, this money's not going to any veteran charities, it's going to my producer, who is a veteran, he may have received less, and it may not have been enough to employ Falcax. So maybe there was financial benefit for him in the sense that he had an editor for his channel, so that he could, and he got the money from there. So there is and on the top of all that, not only is it fraud, but there's stolen valor there too. He was using those stories that he never had to gain sympathy from the audience, to give him money so they could give it to Falcax in the form of a donation to a charity, so that Falcax could return with work that Kiser could use to garner more money. So it's this infinite loop system that he saw an opportunity to take an advantage, but it needed a startup, and you guys were the startup. So
And
that was an issue for me.
it's an issue for everybody, like one thing that I saw concerning right off the bat, once like we got the DD 214, is the way he interact with Falcax, not just KFAR and Falcax. He'd be on a live chat with them just like we are now, and he'd be like, well, I mean, you're a vet, you know what I mean. He'd say stuff like that, or just ask KFAR about my service. So he was putting the ownership on somebody else who's a confirmed vet. And then they're on the spot. They obviously didn't have a chat about that beforehand, right? And so then he has like a choice: either shit on my guest, who's also bringing me in subscribers, or just go along with it. And they just went along with it, and for a long time, like a long time.
Yeah.
Which that was preposterous to me, but
Well, I don't know this for a fact, but I believe KFAR has done some calling out of Kiser and his behaviors lately. So
absolutely, yeah.
But in calling Kiser out, KFAR admitted that he was getting paid by Kiser after Kiser was exposed. He continued supporting him because he was getting financial gain.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which he gaslit everyone about at the time, because everyone was calling him out and he kept saying he wasn't getting any money. Everyone was lying, and then he admitted it.
Yeah. And then KFAR put out false birth dates on Kiser with the intention of preventing people from getting records.
Yep.
So there was intent to deceive. I mean, he checked all the boxes is what we're trying to tell you. Yep. And we're not trying to tell you in the audience. Okay, in the audience, if you've been here the whole time, you know this is a fact. It's not even speculation at this point, because we put it out, hopefully trying to keep these people who are getting taken advantage of, to keep them from being taken advantage of, to keep future people from being taken advantage of, by putting this out ad nauseum to you guys. And so when I say we're speaking to you, I continuously say that, speaking to the cult of Kiser that is looking for a place to gather and looking for the nearest fucking roach infested pancake spot that has chicken at noon, that they can just kind of sit there at all you can eat from 10 to 1 for $5.
Could you send an email to shizhappensyt@gmail.com? Anyone who donated money to Mr. Kiser believing it was going to a veterans charity, or that he himself was a combat veteran, please email shizhappens, letter Y, letter T, @gmail.com.
I'm glad you spelled it out and said YT and not Whitey.
People get confused.
Yeah, I'd have left if she'd have said that racist shit. I'd have been out.
Oh, jeez. All right, I'm going to drop the link in case any of Kiser's lurker supporters want to come up, specifically Gremlins or R&R Paranormal.
Please, Dave.
Hey, yeah, how about this? I will put aside being the hateful little fucking piece of shit that I am, just to hear you out and try to convince you why you made a bad choice.
Oh, that would be great.
I might be slightly hateful, just slightly hateful. Only no more hateful than I am.
Just the tip, just the tip of hate. Right?
Yeah.
Also, Lumpy, if you did this in the form of a super chat, you will have an email from YouTube on those days you made super chats. Might be another idea.
Once it processes, you should get an email confirming your super chat. Is Gremlin related to emo? Probably. Probably. They're always in my comments and stuff, but they never click the link. Like I'm down for debate. I remain civil.
And should I expand upon that phone call and the like the other stuff that was said to me? About the guns?
No. Nothing to do with the murder case. Yeah.
All right.
Just in case, you never know how things are going to turn out. I usually
Chat. Listen, it's not a good conversation on his end that he had with me. It just didn't look good for him whatsoever. I'll just leave it to you at that. Frog was there. Frog was sitting next to me. I was talking shit about Frog while he was sitting next to me. It was pretty fucking awesome. I was like, that little tadpole motherfucker, tadpole dick.
His sentencing is not May 8th, guys. Please.
Yeah, I
Stop.
thought it was May 23rd or 22nd. It's one of those two.
Yeah, let's not do that, people. Please.
Yeah.
People are so weird with this stuff. Like, I know this. Like, well, you're wrong. So I guess you don't.
But
So-
the biggest thing about me is like I don't understand how they're like he's running what could essentially be classified as a pro-law channel, right? He's going after frauditors. He's going after fucking people in court. He's a pro-government, pro-law channel. And then he's turning around and committing crimes and lying about it. And his whole audience, who's there to watch these pro-law things, are like, no big deal. He's all right. He's cool. He's good in my book.
Because he doesn't like Chris Ryder, and they also didn't like. That's part of it, right?
Right?
I
He
mean,
doesn't like the guy. Don't like. Sal, I wasn't asking her to email me to get the money back. Likely, it's probably been a length of time where she can't. That is for another project.
Well, skeptic. Let me with the money situation with him getting super chats and things solely based on him saying he's a vet in his combat stories and his being wounded, claiming Purple Hearts, etc. If you were, let's say, you're in charge, what would the consequence for that be?
For the stolen valor part,
And the fraud.
Fraud
And
based
the
on
fraud. On stolen valor.
So the fraud part doesn't actually bother me as much as the stolen valor because the fraud wouldn't have been able to occur had the stolen valor not occurred to the level that it was had he not lied about his military history. Then he probably wouldn't have had the money to hire an editor and anything like that. So I want to say the precursor to the fraud is the stolen valor, and that makes it, in my eyes, a more punishable. Now, to see the level of super chats he was getting, I'd have to see the actual calculation. I know it was pretty significant enough for him to make it a full-time job, so it was definitely enough money, a taxable amount of income. And I think that because of all those factors, like he definitely needs to pay something. Like I don't know that, individuals who are wronged is who needs to be paid. He's clearly shown that he can develop a cult around him who will still pay him no matter what. So a lot of those people are going to be like, hey, no big deal. I like Kiser. Don't worry about me and your, when looking at restitution. But he should definitely have something. I don't know if jail time would be the right thing for stealing the guns. Absolutely. If he gets convicted of the murder, abso-fucking-lutely. That'll probably be a life sentence for him if we all want to be honest with ourselves here, because that'll be a first-degree felony if all the stipulations to the case turn out to be true. It'll be murder while committing a felony of home invasion. So it'll be a first-degree felony, and life will be what he's looking at. So for those two things, yes, I absolutely believe he deserves to spend some prison time. But for the fraud, if he got it, if they booted him off of YouTube and they said that's your punishment, no YouTube, no way to take advantage of this, I would be happy with that.
Well, I mean, but I think what we're seeing is something that would likely be easily prosecutable federally, given the fact it's technically theft by deception and it was happening across state lines. It would fall under wire fraud as well.
Oh yeah, for sure.
The means of the theft by deception was stolen valor.
Especially if he was putting his PayPal out there and people are sending him money on PayPal. If I don't know that to be a fact. I'm saying if he had an alternate way of you sending him money directly, then that would absolutely constitute wire fraud. If somebody pushed it, if somebody, of course, let's say you gave him a $20 payment on PayPal, nobody's going to take that seriously. Like no law enforcement agency is going to say, stop all this major fraud investigation that's going on. Am I there?
Hi,
still?
Seema. I just wanted to let Seema know that she's lovely. Thank you.
I was like, what the fuck happened?
Don't worry, she did it to me
Yeah.
like 6 times earlier. So.
I do it all the time. I'm kind of a jerk like that. All right. Since no roughnecks want to come up, is there any closing statements you guys would like to make?
I'll let everybody else go.
Yeah, I'll start. One thing, even his description, the Fraudit Wrangler description on his channel that's still up, although significantly diminished. He still has Cash App is $ Fraudit Wrangler. 2 charities I believe in the most are DAV, Disabled American Veterans, whose sole purpose is to help disabled veterans navigate through the VA administration, and the Ronald McDonald House, which provides food and lodging to families. So, don't donate to people. I mean, unless you really believe it and you really know where your money's going, don't donate. Right? Like something like this. I mean, it's not a smart move. Get established with that individual. Figure it out. The 2 other things I would close with are, like Shiz and I had to learn how to do some of this as we started working together, right? And this is not fucking rocket science, right? Anybody who doesn't believe what we're saying, you can go look at this shit yourself, okay? Might cost $20-$30, right? But you can go to the source and you can find these things yourself. If you don't believe us and you're pro-government or pro-whatever, you can literally look up all this yourself. You can look up its own words yourself. So take that in consideration. Listen, when you are dealing with veterans in your civilian life at work, the best advice I can give you is, sure, hey, it's great. You're a veteran, combat veteran, whatever that person says they are. Do them and yourself and your organization a favor by not treating them any differently than you would anybody else. I don't hate it. I don't love, thank you for your service. I'm kind of indifferent, right? A lot of people out there get a huge ego when you build them up so much. And service is supposed to be a sacrifice, right? It's supposed to be selfless. So just when you interacting with veterans, you thank them all day, but don't treat them like they're a king of something, because they're not. They're normal people, like everyday people, men and women, and they just wanted to serve, and they did, right? So when you're interacting with these people in your workplace, when you're grocery shopping, when you're at a sporting event, sure, buy them a beer, right? Pretty much leave it at that. Treat them like you would everybody else, and that'd be my advice to everybody on that. So. Otherwise, thanks for tuning in. Thanks, Shiz. Really cool opportunity. And thanks, Skeptic. Love your input on this, man. It's really, really great.
Awesome.
All right, Scotto's turn. Oh no, I booted him.
Wow. Wow.
What are your closing thoughts now that we're coming to the end of the Kiser saga?
My closing thought, darling, is I was in the backstage so much that I had time to paint, and I did some curtains, and I showed some throat privilege. You're welcome. I love you.
And no, Colin, I would never do. I'd do that to Wally. I'll do that to Scotto. I'm not going to do that to Skeptic.
Fuck off, Colin.
Thank you for the
Bama. Me, it's
hot.
hot.
All right, Skeptic, do you have any closing statements?
Yeah, I do, and I am gonna give a closing statement, but I'm gonna start with just one thing to summarize it before I give my closing statement, and that is, Kiser, you're getting everything you deserve right now.
Amen.
And burn in fucking hell. Enjoy your time in prison. Come out as a 60-year-old man that's learned his lesson, and see if you and Kimmy can pick it up from there.
You think
Nipple
he'll
hair
be out
will
in 20 years? I don't know if he'll be out in 20 years. We'll see.
Well,
how many nipple hairs is that in over 20 years? Like,
she'll have a higher percentage of gray hairs than she does now. Hey, I'm not done giving my closing statement, goddammit.
Okay, sorry.
All right, so what I want to say is this right here. Wally actually summarized a lot of what I was planning on saying, And I want to reiterate what he said. It costs you $20-$30 to verify everything. If you're somebody who watches Kiser, there's two things that you can look from that, and that it's cost you $20 or $30 not to waste all those minutes that are precious minutes that you could either be watching someone else on YouTube or maybe taking care of your kid or yourself. Like it's an investment. Now, the second part of that is if you look it up and you find out that we're lying, then shit, for $20 to $30, you can come and prove all of us that we're all jackasses and we're all liars. None of you have done that yet, and that should be a telling statement that I just made, that there's not a single person has come through to say, hey, those documents are made up. Well, there is one person, Kiser. Kiser did blindly said, hey, they're making up these documents about my court hearings. They're making up these documents about what I did and what I said. And every time he said they're making it up, we provided receipts. We provided receipts every single time. And that is one of the reasons why he's in the position he's in today, with no roll call to be made. So as far as what Wally said about the veterans, y'all know me, that when people in my, I get this a lot. People will super chat me and say, hey, thanks for your service, Skeptic, or they'll leave it in a comment. And I always tell them the same thing. Well, thank you, but I did it because I believed in service to my country. I don't think everybody should. It's not for everybody. Not everybody has that vision. Not everybody has that desire to put up, years of their life into, basically a job that gets you nothing at the end. It really doesn't. Not unless you do 20 years. You put in decades, you'll get something substantial back. But for the most of us, they go in for 4, 8, 12 years. They might leave with a small little fucking something to take home with them each month. And they don't just walk around. The average veteran doesn't just walk around and say, hey, look at my veteran status. Look at what I did. And when you have a YouTuber who doesn't talk about military things, aka Kiser, who's talking about police arrests and he's talking about court cases, and he has to continuously remind you about his service and the things he did while in service, that should be a red flag. I could understand it if you're talking about a veteran, if you have a veterans show, or if you're a military channel. I could understand how you would want to, say, hey, I was in the military and this is what I did. This is what gives my opinion validation, or, my analysis validation. Kiser just did it to get into your sympathetic pocketbooks, and it worked. For a lot of people, it worked. And I do sympathize for those people, but at the same time, we put it out for so long. It's really on you at this point to really leave the cult, because that's what you guys are. The moment I called him out publicly, think about what cult members do when one person leaves the cult. What does the cult do? They turn on them. Now it's almost as if you can't go. They truly believe Shiz is paying me or has something over my head to make me do this, to make me do this. This is not voluntary. If you ask one of the Kiser supporters, they're delusional people, because for them to justify their belonging to a cult, they have to comport a new reality. And that's exactly what they've done. They've comported a new reality where I'm the bad guy, when all I was doing was looking out for them. So, Kiser, eat shit. Enjoy your prison time. 6 a.m. is not a bad time to be eating breakfast forcefully. Just get up, do a little workout, take a shower, and shit.
What do you mean the roll call? We still doing the roll call.
Bro, that shit makes me laugh every time I watch this shit and I hear that. I'm like, this motherfucker needs to stop.
Dude, he sounds more like Dwayne than Dwayne does, and it fucks me up.
Hey, Shiz, if I share something with you, will you share it on screen? Sure. I got a new tattoo.
Oh, God, okay.
Don't oh God me. It's actually really nice. It's my first...
He made his penis into a dragon, and I'm going to get struck. It's fun.
I did not post that. I don't know how you found out.
You sent it to me, bro, and asked if I liked it.
Did I send you a picture of my tattoo, that new one yet? Okay, no, I didn't. All right, here. Yeah, you can share that with y'all. You guys can be the first to see my new work. But it was yeah.
It
So
hasn't popped
Kiser,
up. Oh, you sent it to okay.
what did I do?
You sent it to me on Discord.
Oh yeah, Discord. But yeah. That's my biggest thing about him is that he will clutch. He crutches. I'm sorry, he crutches on that fucking his military service that he made up. Like you'd think he had everything down, but no, he didn't.
Well, but that's the problem with liars is they can't keep their story straight. And so if you're following a creator and their story is varying each time they tell it, maybe you need to use your thinker and not fall for that bullshit.
But I'm telling you, man, the power of inclusion is rough, man. Like we actually do we do have an influence over our audience. Okay. So like when people say, oh, you shouldn't be held accountable for what your audience does, to an extent, they're right. You know, you could be teaching
If
the
you're
gospel.
inciting them, that is different.
If you're inciting them, that is different. And that's what I was
I've
going to
learned
say.
them
You know,
incited behavior a lot and encouraged a lot of behavior, and that makes
absolutely.
you culpable.
Absolutely. Well, and that's what I'm saying is like, yeah, exactly. You know, like there's a limit, you know, like you can't incite people to go fucking like brigade the way he did.
I fucked up your picture.
Oh.
There
Oh
we
yeah,
go.
look.
Oh, that is cool.
Very impressive.
Yeah, that's the beginning. We're gonna go up my arm after that. And he's gonna be my artist that does the rest of my arm.
How long does that take? That looks maybe like 4 hours.
Yeah, it's about 5 hours.
Pussy.
Yeah.
Does do your artist have an Instagram or anything that you could?
Yeah, Brandon Albus. In fact, I'll do that right now because that's like a good friend of mine. He actually did the Jokers on my shoulder, which not a lot of people have seen the Jokers on my shoulder, but I have a portrait of Jack Nicholson and Heath Ledger. I have both of those portraits and they're really fucking good. But let me why can't I search on Instagram?
All right, well, thank you so much for tattoo time. It's getting towards my bedtime. I am going to jump in Discord for a little bit if anyone would like to hang out. Thank you, Wally, for being amazing and dealing with my bullshit. I'm sure I'll talk to you tomorrow. Thank you, Skeptic, for derailing things and making them about yourself, as always. It's good to see you. Scotto, as always, you are lovely. My closing message is stop being dumb clams. And also, Mr. Kiser, I guess after all is said and done, I did walk you like a dog, didn't I?
Just know the murder case is not going to paint me in a very pretty light. It's not. It did not paint me in a very pretty light. It didn't, in any regard. Whether it's true or not is irrelevant.
Man, you should do less. Looking real stupid, you like I can't press. On some real shit, bite chick nonetheless. Take the buck and go home, pack it up, kid, you a mess. I'm like a dog, let's just call him Lassie. Fake vet, kill a real vet. Justice is what we need to see. Man, you should do less. Looking real stupid, you like I can't press. On some real shit, bite chick nonetheless. Take the buck and go home, pack it up, kid, you a mess. Walking like a dog, let's just call him Lassie. Fake vet, kill the real vet. Justice is what we need to see. Man, you should do less. Looking real stupid, you like I can't press. On some real shit, bite chick nonetheless. Take the buck and go home, pack it up, kid, you a mess. Walking like a dog. Walking like a dog. Walking like a dog.
I felt that his victim deserved to have the story told.